Hello, mighty companions. Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy, and welcome to A Course in Miracles. And we're going to talk about, well, how do we get to innocence and guiltlessness, and how do we see an innocent, guiltless world? How do we see that right now from A Course in Miracles standpoint? So let's take an opportunity now to get totally focused in with my brother John Christmas. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of my mom, I'm not a victim of my pa, I'm not a victim of events or circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. I'm Earl Purdy, and that is no jive. And we've got to get back to our innocence. How do we let go of guilt? How do we get in this world in the first place? How do we end up here? And how can we get to the peace and the innocence that we want? Let's keep on listening to Brother John Christmas. I'm not a victim of the North. I'm not a victim of the South. Not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Woo! Help me out now. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Now remember, you don't have to believe these ideas, you don't have to accept these ideas, you don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist, and some of these ideas you may find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. I'm going to say some things that may seem quite startling. Yeah! I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Oh yeah, oh yeah, holy mackerel there, oh yeah. What's happening is what I've done to me. How I feel, what I feel is what I've done to me. What's happening is what I've done to me. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome to Facebook Live. Welcome my mighty companions here live. We're going to be talking about guiltlessness. How do we get to that innocence? How do we let go of anger? How do we let go of guilt? Where did it come from? What's the truth about us? We're going to be in chapter 13 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. We're going to be on chapter 13, The Guiltless World, Introduction, page 236 in the text. Page 236 in the text. chapter 13, the guiltless world. That's what we're in right now. Now, you are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. The Course in Miracles says it's not about analyzing the ideas at all. And I don't analyze A Course in Miracles. I see myself as a clarity coach. I see myself as the divine remembering teacher, the divine repetition teacher. I've been studying and teaching the Course in Miracles for 40 years. And my purpose is to save you time. I work directly out of the text because I want to encourage you to read and study the Course in Miracles. And I try to give some tips. I do the Course in Miracles as much as I can in plain language. And sometimes I substitute some of the Course in Miracles definitions for some of the words to make it easier to understand. So let's jump into it. I'm so glad to see you all. I do it live so you can interact with each other, and I watch all of the comments. So we're gonna start out the guiltless world. Because there's so much going on right now. How can we get back to the innocence? I'm gonna go through it. Are you ready? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now, their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. So what does it say? Their use will give the ideas in the Course in Miracles meaning to you and will show you that it's true. Analyzing the Course in Miracles will not show you that the Course in Miracles is true. It's the use of the ideas that will show you that the ideas are true. Using the ideas. Because the Course in Miracles has one purpose, and that's to give you the peace of God, the peace of love. Course in Miracles teaches that when you have peace and peace of mind, then you can hear the voice of truth, the voice of God, the voice of spirit guiding you. You can't hear your guidance when you're full of conflict and fear and anger and guilt. You can't hear your inner guidance. And we want to hear our inner guidance. I'm not trying to put you into my hands. I'm supporting you in going within so you can hear the divine within yourself. Because you must teach only love, because love is what you are. That's why you are here. So here we go. Chapter 13, introduction. Here we go. Do you know that you couldn't attack if you didn't feel guilty? So whenever a person attacks, that means they are feeling guilty. When you're ready to get angry and attack, do you know that you're feeling guilty about something? If someone's angry at you, attacking you, they're feeling guilt. The Course says, if you did not feel guilty, you could not attack. For condemnation is the root of attack. So what does that mean when I say condemnation is the root of attack? Well, it is the judgment of one man by another man is unworthy of love and deserving of punishment. So I'm going to judge you as unworthy of love and deserving of punishment when I want to attack you. And if I didn't feel guilty, I wouldn't be attacking you in the first place. But herein lies the split between innocence and guilt in your mind. For the mind that judges perceives itself as separate from the mind being judged. So if I'm going to judge you, I have to see you as being different from myself, separate from myself. And I would have to believe, if I'm judging you, condemning you, I would have to believe that by punishing another, somehow I'm going to escape punishment. Somehow or another, I'm going to escape guilt if I punish you. Do you hear me now? When you judge someone else as separate from you, if you believe they deserve to be punished, if you believe that they deserve to be condemned, the Course in Miracles is basically saying you're trying to make yourself feel more innocent. You're trying to escape some type of punishment for yourself. All this is but the delusional attempt of the mind to deny itself and escape the penalty of denial. So when I'm judging you and condemning you, I'm judging or condemning someone else, and you're judging and condemning someone else is judging or condemning you. It's not an attempt to relinquish denial. but you're actually trying to hold on to denial. So what does that mean? Well, the main point of this paragraph, I believe, is this. It is guilt. Do you want to know what hides the love from you? Do you want to know what hides God from you? If you want to know what hides the Creator to you, it's guilt. If you say, why don't I know the love? Why don't I know the innocence? Why don't I know God? The Course in Miracles says you have some unconscious guilt. You have some unconscious guilt. And the Course in Miracles says that what has driven everyone insane, and the Course in Miracles defines someone who is attacking as someone who's temporarily insane. It says it's because of guilt. It is guilt that hides love and God from you, and it is guilt that has driven people insane. So, what was the beginning of our sense of separation from God? What was the beginning of our sense of separation from love? Because God is love. So I use those two terms interchangeably. The Course in Miracles says the acceptance of guilt into the mind of God's Son was the beginning of the separation. The acceptance of guilt into your mind was the beginning of your separation from God, was the beginning of your separation from love. And it says, as the acceptance of the atonement is the end of the separation, is the end of the guilt. And do you know that the Course in Miracles defines the atonement as the undoing of fear, the correction of error, accepting the truth. So as you accept your innocence, that's the end of your separation from each other. That's the end of your separation from love. That will be the end of your separation from the Creator. So now I want you to think about something. What is one of the main things that we're taught through our religion? One of the things that we're taught in most fundamentalist type religions is that we were born in sin and we were born in guilt. So we were immediately taught that we were sinful and guilty. And when you believe that you're guilty, the Course in Miracles already said that when you believe that you're guilty, that you will have a tendency to attack and to condemn others. And you won't be aware of the God of love. You may be aware of the God of fear, but you will not have a perception of God, that God is love. And so the world you see of fear, the world you see of guilt, the Course says, is a delusional system. So the world is a delusional system. The world is a delusional system. So another term for the world is delusional system. So the world you see is a delusional system of those made mad by guilt. What you're looking at every day in the world of fear is a delusional system that was made by minds that are insane with guilt. Wow, I want you to think about that for a minute. The world you see is the delusional system of those made insane, mad by guilt. So what does the Course in Miracles tell us that we need to do right now? Look carefully at this world. Look carefully at this world. Look carefully at this world, and you will realize that this is so. What is so? This world is a delusional system made by people who are crazy and insane with guilt, according to A Course in Miracles, which I will not defend. Then the Course in Miracles says, this world is the symbol of punishment. This world is the symbol of punishment. The world of separation, the world of guilt, the world of anger and racism is a world that is the symbol of punishment. Do you know, it blows my mind that there are different people, different aspects of myself that would hate me and dislike me just because I have this beautiful, gorgeous chocolate skin on my body, the body that is not me. This body is not Earl Purdy. This body is not Earl Purdy. Your body is not you. So what is this body? The Course in Miracles says that this body is a communication device. I'm talking to you, communicating to you through this body. Don't hate me because the color of my speaker. Don't hate me because of the color of my body. I won't hate you because of the color of your body. You are not your body. I am not my body. You are not your body. I am not my body. I'm not the body. You are not the body. You are spirit and I am spirit. You are mind and I am mind. You are consciousness and I am consciousness. That is what we are. So the world is the symbol of punishment. And all the laws that seem to govern the world, do you know that all the laws that seem to govern the world, it says all the laws that seem to govern the world are the laws of death. All the rules that govern this world of fear are the rules of death. Children are born into this world through pain and in pain. I've met very few women, actually I personally met no women who had children who told me that was the easiest thing in the world. I didn't feel any kind of pain whatsoever. The Course says children are born into this world through pain, and children are born into this world in pain. Then it looks like their growth is attended by suffering. When I grew up, I would fall down and sometimes skin my knee and go through different kinds of pain. Then it says children that are born into this world learn of sorrow and separation and death. So as I grew up, I experienced some sorrow, I experienced some separation, and I experienced the death, what appeared to be the death of people that I loved. And the Course says, when you're born into this world, your mind seems to be trapped in your brain. It looks like my mind is inside my body. It looks like my mind is inside my brain. And the Course in Miracles says, it looks like my powers decline if my body is hurt. The Course says children are born into this world through pain and in pain. Their growth is attended by suffering. That children learn of sorrow and separation and death. That children's minds seem to be trapped in their brain. It looks like its powers to decline if their bodies are hurt. It looks like we are in a world that we seem to love, and yet it looks like we desert other people that we love, and it seems like we are sometimes deserted by other people that we love. In this world, it looks like the Course says, in this world, we appear to lose what we love. In this world, it looks like you can lose someone you love. It looks like in this world, you could lose what you love. And the Course also says, in this world, you appear to lose what you love. That's what the Course says is perhaps the most insane belief of all. The most insane idea you can possibly have is that you can lose what you love. You can never lose what you love. According to the Course in Miracles, which you don't have to believe, you don't have to accept, and you don't have to welcome. You can't, it's insane to think you can lose what you love. You can't lose what you love. What is made out of love, you can never lose what you love. Now you can believe you've lost what you love. It can look like in this world of fear and separation that you lost something you love. But just because it looks like it, it doesn't mean that it's true. And I love this. It looks like our bodies wither and gasp and are laid in the ground and are no more. It looks like I get old. It looks like my body gets old. It looks like I die. and then it looks like I'm buried. Yeah, you know that's the truth. Children are born into this world through pain, and in pain, their growth is attended by suffering. They learn of sorrow and separation and death. It looks like our minds seem to be trapped in our brain. It looks like its powers decline if our bodies are hurt. It looks like we seem to love. It looks like we seem to love, and it looks like we can lose what we love, which is perhaps the most insane thought and belief of all. And then it looks like we get old, and then it looks like we die, and it looks like we are buried, and we don't exist anymore. The Course says, not one of us but has thought, if we be honest with ourselves, there's not one of us but has thought that our Creator must be cruel, that God must be cruel. I don't blame people for not believing in a God that seems to be cruel. I don't believe in a God that's cruel. I don't believe in a God that punishes. I believe in a Creator that creates. I believe in a Creator that lovingly heals us. I believe in a Creator that lovingly corrects us. But I do not believe that there's a man in the sky that's arbitrarily punishing each and every one of us. No. Now, that's what I believe. That doesn't mean that's what you have to believe, but that's what I believe. And that's what the Course in Miracles teaches, that God is unconditional love, that we were created by unconditional love, that which created us only loves and heals us. So you have a choice. I can't prove what I'm saying, and you can't prove that God is a fearful, punishing God either. So you have a choice. You can either go with the idea of your innocence, or you can go with the idea of your guilt and sinfulness. The Course in Miracles says in paragraph 3, in chapter 13, the guiltless world, the Course in Miracles says, if this were the real world, God would be cruel if this were the real world. If this world of separation, attack, racism, sickness, disease, if this world was the ultimate world, if this world were the real world, do you know that God would be cruel? Because no father could subject his children to this as the price of salvation and happiness and be loving. No Creator could subject us to death and suffering and pain and separation, the Course in Miracles says, as the price for your salvation, your healing, and be loving. Love doesn't kill to save. God doesn't kill us to save us. Our Creator doesn't kill us to save us. The Course in Miracles says love does not kill. If love killed you to save you, if you had to go through suffering and pain to be saved, then attack and hurting you would be salvation and healing. And you're being punished and hurt and suffer and having to suffer. The Course in Miracles says this is the ego's interpretation. This is the guilty mind's interpretation. A mind that thinks it's guilty is a mind that thinks it needs to be punished in order to be okay again. It's like a kid back in the day when I was growing up. If you did something wrong, you got a spanking, which was a punishment, and then after you got the punishment, you were okay again. When you got the punishment, you were okay again. And the Course in Miracles says no loving Creator operates that way. It says to us that believing that you need to be punished instead of helped and healed, that is the fearful part of your mind's interpretation of your peace, of your healing. Now, if you're listening to what I'm saying and you're resonating with it, then that tells me that you are a person that really loves yourself at some level. Because if you really love yourself, you want to hear of a Creator that's loving and healing. If you don't love yourself and you're full of anger and guilt and grievances, then you want to hear me tell you that God is a punishing God and that you're going to be punished for your sins. So your perception of God is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. And if you believe you're guilty, you're going to think you need to be punished. If you're going to think you're innocent, you're going to think that when you make a mistake, you need to be lovingly corrected. The Course in Miracles says, only the world of guilt could demand that you be punished in order to be healed and corrected. For only the guilty could conceive of being punished or punishment as being the solution to any situation. The Course in Miracles says Adam's sin, as told in the Bible, Adam's sin could have touched no one had Adam not believed it was the Father who drove him out of paradise. And so whenever I hear that the Father drove Adam out of paradise, so to me I can almost imagine the Creator driving a car with Adam in the back seat, driving him out of paradise. Because in the belief that God forces you from happiness, that God punishes you instead of heals you and loves you, the Course in Miracles says, if you believe that God doesn't heal you, but God punishes you, it says, for in that belief, the knowledge of the Father, God, the Creator, was lost, since only those who do not understand God, only those who do not understand what love is, could believe that love would want you to suffer or that God would want you to suffer. So if you want to know whether or not you have an understanding of the Creator, do you think the Creator heals or do you think the Creator punishes? So what is this world that we are looking at right now with so much disease and attack and separation and racism and misperception going on? Well, the Course in Miracles says this world is a picture of the crucifixion of God's Son. What does that mean? It means what you're looking at with all of the fear and attack and separation, that's us crucifying ourselves. When we hate ourselves, when we attack each other, when we judge each other, you're judging yourself and you're crucifying yourself. If I'm a part of you and you are a part of me, then when I attack you, I'm attacking me. When I hurt you, I'm hurting me. And I experience the pain that I give. So this world is a picture of the crucifixion of the child of God. So how do you get past this picture of crucifixion? How do you get past this picture of crucifixion? How do you stop crucifying yourself? How do we stop crucifying ourselves? Well, the first thing you have to do to stop hurting yourself, to stop crucifying yourself, is to realize that God's child cannot be crucified. And so until you realize that you can't be crucified, until you realize that you cannot be hurt, you cannot be attacked. Now, before I sound too crazy to you, let me share what I mean when I say you cannot be attacked. Okay, here we go. You are a spiritual being. You are not a physical being. You have a physical body. Your physical body is the way you operate in this realm. The way you operate in this realm is with your physical body, but you're not your physical body. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a spiritual being having a bodily experience. You are a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being. Your true nature is eternal. Your true nature is eternal. Your true nature can never be hurt. You can't truly be hurt in your truest nature any more than you could hurt God, any more than God could be destroyed. You are a child of God. You are an extension of love. You are a spiritual being. And so you, what you really are, cannot be crucified. That means who and what you really are is not guilty, is not sinful. What you truly are. Now, what you think you are can be guilty and sinful. You can think you're guilty and sinful. But what you really are is totally innocent. And you may make some mistakes, but mistakes are for correction, not for punishment. Punishing somebody does not correct them. If I believe 2 and 2 is 7, and you smack me upside the head and punish me for believing 2 and 2 is 7, it doesn't make me aware of what the real answer is. So I need correction. I need to be taught that 2 and 2 is 4. Smacking me upside my head and hitting me is not going to correct me. So the Course in Miracles says, until you realize that you cannot be crucified, until you realize that you are not guilty, then this world of anger and attack and separation is the world you're going to see. Until we recognize each other's value, until we recognize each other's oneness, until I change my mind. The Course in Miracles teaches that when you change your mind, the world will change. Because what you're looking at is a reflection of the beliefs and thoughts in your own mind. So when you change your mind, everything else will change. It's not when you change my mind, everything else will change. It's not when I change your mind, everything else will change. It's when you change your mind that everything in your experience will change for the better. And what goes in my mind goes into your mind, because we are all part of the one mind. We are part of the one mind. We are part of the one mind. Yet you will not realize this until you accept the eternal fact that God's Son is not guilty. You are not guilty. You are innocent and sweet. You are not guilty. You are innocent and sweet. You are not guilty. You have to accept that about yourself. You are not sinful and guilty. You are not guilty, according to A Course in Miracles. So since in your truest nature you're not guilty, guess what? You deserve only love, because you have been given only love. You deserve 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 only love. Now, you may not believe you deserve only love. You may not have been brought up, taught that you deserve only love. But that does not mean that it's not true. You deserve only love. Your real self, who you truly are, your real self cannot be condemned, because as the child of God, as the love that you are, you have never condemned. Your ego may condemn others. What you believe about yourself, that part of you that you think is angry or guilty or not good enough or inadequate, that part of you may condemn others, but your real, true, divine self has never condemned. So the atonement, which the Course defines as the Word of God, the truth, the atonement, the undoing of your guilt, the undoing of your guilt, guess what? That is the atonement. The atonement is forgiveness. And forgiveness is looking at things with love, with correct perception. The atonement is the final lesson you need learn. The atonement, your innocence, is the final lesson that you need learn. For the atonement, the Word of God, the truth, the Word of love, teaches you that never having sinned, you have no need of salvation. You have no need of, right, ultimately, there's nothing for you to be saved from, because your real self is only love. Now this section, this introduction is so powerful that I'm going to review it. I'm going to go back over it right now, and I'm going to break it down a little bit more, because this is one of the most important sections in the book, because we're going to get into our innocence and recognize our innocence so that we can have the real world. You know what? I'm not waiting for anybody else to be loving. I'm not waiting for anyone else to not be a racist. I'm not going to be a racist. I'm not going to look for anybody else to be kind. I'm going to be kind. I'm not going to see myself as a victim. I'm going to assume responsibility for my experience. I'm going to accept the idea that I was created by love. Nobody else can tell me what I have to believe. And I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm just sharing A Course in Miracles. And it's up to you to either buy it or not buy it. It's not going to change the way I feel about it. I wouldn't be teaching something that I didn't want to believe. So there's no need for anybody to try to write me about how I'm wrong and how I need to change my mind, because you just waste your time. You'd be wasting your time. Okay, I wouldn't be teaching something for 40 years that I did not believe in, and I'm certainly not going to let somebody's comment, who I don't even know, change my mind about what I've seen work in my life and bring more love in my life and more healing in my life than I could ever imagine. I believe, and I am accepting my innocence and your innocence, and the more that I accept it, the more my life flows, the more harmony comes into my life, the more healing comes into my life, the more loving people come into my life. So you think you're going to change my mind? I don't think so. And the Course in Miracles teaches that if you try to correct somebody else and fix somebody else instead of changing your own mind and letting the higher self, the Holy Spirit, change your mind, then you're in your ego and in your false mind anyway. So as soon as someone tries to correct me, as far as I'm concerned, they're in their ego, because they would trust that the Holy Spirit within me could correct me, that their job is not to correct me. Their job is to allow themselves to be corrected. So I am teaching this because I want to learn this. So let me get this straight. If I feel angry and I really want to attack somebody, I was told if I didn't feel guilty, I wouldn't get angry and depressed, and I wouldn't see myself in sick or in lack. So let me see if I can apply this in a practical way. If I feel guilty, then I'm going to attack somebody. I'm going to come home and raise hell if I'm feeling guilty. Anytime somebody feels guilty, then they're going to attack themselves or someone else. And so what is the root of attack? What is it that makes somebody attack? Well, condemnation is the root of attack. So if I condemn you, I'm going to want to attack you. And if I condemn myself, I'm going to attack myself. Now, what would be some of the ways I would attack myself? Well, I'd give myself relationships that were unsatisfying. I'd give myself a job, a career that I have no joy. I would give myself a body that was always going through one thing or another in terms of pain. If I condemn myself, then I'm going to attack myself. The Course in Miracles says in one of the other sections that guilt is the request for punishment. That when you're feeling guilty, that's a request for punishment. But the Course in Miracles also says that feeling guilty and suffering and being angry and upset and sick and racist, the Course in Miracles says that's also a call for help. That's a deep call for God. That's a deep call for help. That people who are lost in fear and hatred are terrified people. And when people are terrified, then vicious people can attack. So the more afraid you make someone, the more likely you are going to be attacked by them. That's why peace is stronger than war. That's why peace is stronger than attack. Because condemnation is the judgment of my mind on somebody else as being unworthy of love and deserving punishment. And if I believe you are deserving of punishment, then my mind is split, because now I've lost sight of the fact that we are one and you and I are connected. So I'm seeing myself as different from whoever I'm judging. And then I'm believing that by someone else being punished, Course says, then I'm believing I will escape punishment. And that I'm just being in deep denial about the truth at that point. And then people say to me, how can I know God? How can I know the higher power? How can I tune into God? How can I know my relationship with God? Would you like to have an answer to that? The answer is not very difficult, but the answer is very different. And it's very simple. The Course in Miracles teaches that the truth is simple, that the truth is simple, and the truth is something you can do right now. If the Course in Miracles teaches that complexity is a smoke screen that complexity is a smokescreen that hides the simplicity of the truth. So I'm going to tell you how you can experience God, how you can experience love according to A Course in Miracles. It says that it's guilt that has hidden God to you. It is guilt that drives you insane. So if you continue to do things that you know you're making yourself feel guilty about, you're driving yourself insane. There's nobody else driving you insane. If you keep on doing the things you fear, if you keep on seeing yourself as not being enough, seeing yourself as sinful and guilty and bad, then you're calling punishment and suffering to yourself, and you're hiding the Creator from yourself. And the Creator is love. The Creator is love. So stop making yourself feel guilty. And by all means, stop trying to make other people feel guilty. A Course in Miracles teaches that when a person is constantly angry and trying to make another person feel guilty, that all they are really doing is trying to control that person, trying to get that person to act out their script, that it's an attack upon themselves. Now, what was the beginning? Then, of course, then people ask me, well, how do we become separate from God in the first place? How do we become separate from love in the first place? How did I become separate from my happiness in the first place? Well, the way you became separate from your happiness in the first place is you started to accept the idea that you are guilty and sinful. When you believe that you're guilty, the Course in Miracles says that was the beginning of your belief that you're separate from God. That is the beginning of the belief that we're separate from love. Because how could you be loved and you're such a bad person, such an inadequate person? So what is the end of the guilt? What is the end of the guilt? Would you like to know what the end of the guilt is? It's the acceptance of the atonement. And the atonement is the acceptance of the truth. It's through accepting the truth that you are loved. It's through accepting the truth that who you really are is lovable. Do you know that it amazes me that some people get angry at what they hear me say, which means they didn't really hear what I said? I mean, who in their right mind would be upset with someone who's telling them that they deserve love? Who in their right mind would be upset with someone that's telling them that they deserve to be lovingly corrected? Who in their right mind would be upset with a teacher that's telling them that they have a loving Creator and that they were created by love? Who in their right mind would be upset with someone who's telling them that they live forever in their truest nature, and that their truest nature is free, and that their truest nature is good? The only person that would get upset with someone that's teaching them that would be someone who doesn't believe that they deserve love and that they deserve punishment. So I don't expect people who believe that they deserve to be punished and they want other people to be punished. They are not going to want to believe anything that I'm saying. And that's okay. They'll learn the truth. If it's the truth, you're going to find out. But there are people who are tuning into me that are being sent by the Holy Spirit who love the way that I channel the truth. And the way that it comes through me is the way that is meaningful to them. And it wakes them up to become a more loving, kind, giving person. Those are my students. Those are my teachers. Those are the ones that I want to reach. And I'm teaching what I need to learn. I have aspects and parts of myself that I have not seen as completely innocent yet, or I would not be sitting up here. The only difference between me and anybody else after 40 years of studying is that I am willing to accept what the Course in Miracles is teaching, and I'm willing to apply the remedies that the Course in Miracles gives me without sitting around analyzing it as if I'm the one who determines what the truth is or not. And who, unless they're in the deepest denial, could deny that this world is some kind of a delusional system that's made by guilty minds? Do you see all the punishment and the suffering that happens in the world of fear? But the Course in Miracles says that's because this world is a delusional system based on guilt and fear. But there is another world. There's another world based on the idea that you are innocent. There's another world based on the idea that you are lovable. There's another world based on the idea that you are spirit. And that world is more real than this world. But you won't see that world until you accept your beauty and your innocence. You won't see the real world until you stop condemning yourself and others. You won't see the world of love until you see yourself as innocent. And I'm going to tell you you're innocent whether you believe it or not. I'm going to tell you you're innocent whether or not it makes you mad. Because if you are not seeing yourself as innocent, then your spiritual work is to learn how to let go of everything that makes you think you're guilty. I'm not saying that you don't make mistakes. I'm not saying it's a mistake when we hurt each other. It's a mistake when we attack each other. It's a mistake when we condemn each other. It's a mistake when we appear to murder each other. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. And a mistake is for correction. Punishment does not correct a mistake. Punishment does not correct a mistake. New thinking corrects a mistake. Love corrects a mistake. Teaching a person another way of looking at things, that's what corrects mistakes. Changing your mind, tuning into a self that is greater than your own ego, that's what does correction. That's what heals. And don't forget, if this were the real world, if the world of attack and separation and fear were the real world, then God would be cruel if pain and suffering, if your Creator just wanted you to go through pain and suffering and lack and fear, then our Creator would be cruel. So those of you who don't believe in God in the sense that you don't want to believe in a punishing God that makes you suffer, I agree with you 100%. I don't believe in that God either. But I do believe in a loving Creator. Now, how do I know that there's a loving Creator? Because I want to be loving. I want to let go of my blocks and be a more loving person. And I was created. I did not create myself. So whatever created me instilled those qualities inside of me to want to be loving. So if I can want to be loving with all the so-called flaws that my ego will try to tell me is within myself, then how much greater must the love be that my Creator gives? So that's how I know God must be loved, because there's love in me and there's love in you. And I know kind people and I know loving people. And we didn't create ourselves. We didn't create ourselves. We did not create ourselves. We didn't create ourselves. And when we forget who we are, we fall into the idea that we are separate, we are bodies, and that we are guilty. And you see, what you believe is what you see is what you believe. And what you see is what you believe. And what you see is what you believe. So your perceptions are lovely liars. Because your perceptions will only witness to what you believe, but not necessarily to the truth. Do you know that the Course in Miracles is giving you new perceptions? It's a book of new perceptions. And when you study it, you are given the new beliefs, the new perceptions that will produce the peaceful, loving world. And so I want you to know that you are not guilty, you are not guilty, you are innocent. I'm going to do a quick recap. I'm Earl Purdy. I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. Woo! And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation to my teaching ministry, I sure would appreciate it. Just go to my website, earlpurdy, PURDY.com. And if you want to use Venmo or any of those services, my email is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Now, those of you who would like to, I'm a clarity coach. I'm a spiritual advisor, and I help people get past those blocks. Like if you have some of that guilt and anger and grievances, and you know you want to let that go, I will bring my 40 years of working with the Course in Miracles and my over 40 years as a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist, if you are open to that, into our session. Whatever is bothering you right now, there's another way to look at it. However you feel trapped, there's another way to look at it. Now listen to me. It's called a clarity session. So go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and it will explain my sessions and my services in detail. And you can book a session with me right there online, and I'd love to work with you. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, guess what? I do what's called hardcore Course in Miracles. It's especially geared toward A Course in Miracles students who actually see themselves as Course in Miracles students, and they really want to learn A Course in Miracles and have some time saved. It's not a Facebook Live for people who are still debating so much. It's about, we're going to get deep in this book, and I'm going to give you some tips about how you can learn it really quickly and easily without sabotaging yourself. But anybody's welcome to watch my classes, but hardcore on Thursday night is especially geared toward Course in Miracles students. That's on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, the Earl Purdy page. And follow my page so that you will be notified whenever I come online live. And also go to my website and sign up for my contact list so that I can let you know of any events or workshops that I'm doing. Yeah. Now, I'm going to end this with some thoughts, repetition, affirmation. I feel so good. I needed to hear this, especially since there are so many calls for love and calls for God going on in our world right now. Now, you have to realize that you deserve love and not punishment. And how will you know when you deserve love and not punishment? How will you know? When you believe that someone else doesn't deserve to be punished, but you believe they deserve to be helped and healed and corrected, that's when you will surely know that you believe you should be helped and healed and corrected when you do something out of your insane mind. Do you know that the Course in Miracles is saying that a person that attacks is insane? That when you're angry, you are insane. Even if there is something you know that needs to be changed, you can change it from peace. You don't have to change it from anger and attack unless you believe that you deserve attack. Yeah. So the Course in Miracles says, you will not remember God until you accept that God is love. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. And let me tell you this. You deserve only love. You deserve only love. You deserve only love. You deserve only love. You may not believe that you deserve only love, but you deserve only love. You deserve only love. You may think that you deserve to be punished, but you deserve only love. You deserve only love. Tell yourself that you deserve only love. Tell yourself that you deserve only love. I deserve only love. I deserve only love. I deserve only love. I deserve only love. Tell yourself the truth right now. Tell yourself the truth right now. You may make mistakes. You may do some dumb stuff, some angry stuff, some guilty stuff, but you deserve only love. That's what you deserve. You deserve only love. That's what you deserve. You deserve only love. That's what you deserve. And if you don't like what I'm saying, I don't care. If you don't like it, I don't care. If you don't like it, I'm still going to tell you, you deserve help. I'm still going to tell you, you deserve love. I'm still going to tell you, you are innocent. I'm still going to tell you that you are me. I'm still going to tell you, I am you. I'm still going to tell you that God is love. 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 You are love. You are love. You are love. You are love. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. That's what the world needs now. The world doesn't need any more angry people. The world needs more clear, caring, conscious people. But anger is a call for help. Anger is a call for love. It's all a call for God. It's all a call for love. So this world of fear is a picture of the crucifixion of God's child. But the world of love is a picture of the resurrection of God's child. And you are God's child. Mighty companion, I'm Earl Purdy, teaching what I need to learn, reminding myself of what I need to learn, reminding you of what you need to remember about yourself, and that's your holiness, your innocence, and your divine nature. Now, listen and watch and share this video, and watch it or listen to it at least 4 times, the number 4 of foundation. I love you, mighty companions. Please share this video. And may the course be with you. I love you.